So we had a busy day, almost a full day, and we're gonna hear the startups very soon. Just a moment before that, just to conclude, I think we heard a little bit more about how the evolvement of energy startup into a company, about folk, about IPOs, about investment, just like finish a really great conversation. And I think one of the most important part as part of innovation, is maybe one of the biggest challenge of innovation, is working with our massive clients like the grid, corporates, and utilities. And I couldn't find more two partners, two friends, two professionals to join me to this conversation. I'm more than honored to invite to the stage Mr. Doron Ariel Shapser, Managing Director of E.ON Israel, and Gili Heisler, Head of Global Innovation and Investment in Israel Electric. You have a microphone there? Great. So the name of the session is From Grid to Growth, and how utilities is actually powered energy innovation. And I know it sometimes there is a conflict behind that, and we delve on that in a very second. Before we delve in, maybe you will start with a short introduction, personal introduction, maybe what you do, what your role, and try to spice it a bit. What dragged you to this position? What make you in love with what you do?
Okay. So it's a great start. So I'm Gili Heisler. I'm head of innovation and investments in Israel Electric. I'm actually I did a big change. I came well before I came from I was the CEO of a marketing company, and then I fell in love with technology and I moved to startups. Learned AI and deep tech and new world. And then I crossed the road and I moved from the startups to the utility. And actually, sometimes people ask me why moving. I think startups is the most amazing place to be. And the truth is that I felt national responsibility, I would say. I think Israel Electric owning the national infrastructure of the country has a major responsibility for the ecosystem, for the energy ecosystem, and I want to be there where the revolution is happening and where I can add maybe just a little help to that great ecosystem and grow here a bigger ecosystem of energy and electricity. And I think my role is that place to be. So.
Perfect. I think it's definitely valuable. Doron?
Yes, thanks for having me here. So actually my background is in telco. I'm coming from more than 20 years in the telco space, R&D, innovation. What drew me to the energy side is basically several things. I was looking for an industry which is about to be disrupted. Luckily, I was right. It was more than 7 years ago. I saw lots of similarities between the grid and the cellular network with regards to optimization, adaptability, the flexibility of the resources. And I really believe that we are, luckily I was partnering with one of the leaders, which is E.ON, which is leading the energy transformation and transitioning in Europe, actually worldwide. A bit about E.ON, in case the crowd doesn't know them. So E.ON is the largest electric group in Europe. It's a German public company. We are in 16 countries with more than 50 million paying subscribers, with 80,000 employees. I'm part of the E.ON Group Innovation, which is basically trying to disrupt the business units, especially our grid, which accounts for 80% of our revenues. And the 20% is the customer solutions and the innovations that we are trying to incubate research with our arms in Stanford University, in Aachen University, and Fraunhofer. That's it.
Perfect. Yeah, definitely can tell both of your experience, the background, bringing in the extra layer of a spice and bringing another value also for the startup innovation you work with. I think just like an add-on for that, we spoke a little bit what you do, what the E.ON and Israel Electric do regarding innovation, but let's try to delve a little bit deeper into what actually is going on and how it's look like. Either from Israel Electric, is it pilot, is it investments? We were talking about adding you into the investment pile before, maybe you can get through it, what the difference, and maybe Doron after this try to walk us through a little bit the programs you have as part of E.ON and how actually innovations look like inside.
Okay, so I don't know if you know, but Israel Electric is 102 years old. It's a very old lady, and it's a big one. It's a huge one, actually. And the innovation unit or work is fairly new. It's only a few years old, which you can understand the differences and the hard work that everyone is doing right now in order to push the innovation. We're mainly focusing in 3 ways of pushing innovation. First one is pilots. We have an open a call for action in our website. If you do Power Up in Israel Electric, you would find it easily. This is our way of making pilots. You can find in the website all the major topics that we are looking for. And since we're that huge company, as I mentioned, in charge of the biggest part of generation and facilitating huge power plants, and also the grid management and generation going to transmission and distribution, and also we're in charge of supply and retail, there is a lot we're looking for, as you can imagine. So the first one is pilots. Over the 4 years that the innovation unit is happening, we made more than 120 pilots with different startups in all those areas. So I call out to everyone to look at our website and look for if you have a solution for us in one of our major topics. The second one after the pilots is, I don't know if you guys would be surprised or not, but we do investments, equity investments in startups, seed and pre-seed. This is where we are. We're actually already done in the past few years 4 investments in 5 investments in 4 companies, and we're heading now at the closing, I hope, of the 6th, which is not easy for a big company, but we are very eager to go there. We think we have a lot to contribute. Of course, we are strategic, completely strategic investor. Sometimes we only invest, sometimes we invest and do a pilot at the same time in different areas. But we look for investments in areas where they can disrupt our business. It could be in the grid, it could be in the power plant, in the generation. We're looking now very, very deeply at hydrogen. We want to go greener than we are, and we are looking very deep at grid management and capacity. As you can understand, and I think the panel before talked a lot about it. We are the only facilitator of the grid, and it's going through a lot. So we look at everything that can help us increase the capacity of the grid, and we look very deeply at that. And the third option of working with the innovation is actually through R&D. Sometimes when we don't find the solution out there within a startup, we develop it with another partner. We don't develop it ourselves. We don't do R&D inside the company for new technologies, but we have the funds, and when we decide that we cannot find it outside, we develop, and we already implemented some of our barely new developments created from zero. So this is the three ways of working with us. Actually, we're also open for new ways of working.
As you keep innovate, you also find a new alternative ways to work with innovations.
Exactly.
Perfect. Thank you, Gile. And Doron, maybe you can share a little bit more about your perspective as a global utility.
Yeah. Let's start from the beginning. We are doing venture building in various sectors. We are doing research, as I mentioned earlier. We have not only research but also development, including software, including even quantum computing development.
We'll get to the trends very soon. Wait for that.
Yeah. And we decided not only to do those activities, but also to partner with startups. In that respect, we have 3 global programs. The most renowned one is Free Electrons. If you want to have more details, just enter to freeelectrons.org. We are basically, it's an accelerator on steroids, if I can use that term. We launched it about 7 years ago. Today we are with 7 more partners, utilities who are not competing with us in our footprint. Hopefully to get IEC on board next year once the things are going to mature here in the region. If you are a pilot-ready company, you can apply towards October, between October and January. Last year we had 1,000 applications globally. The winner is being announced around October. The second program, which is a very lucrative one, it's called the Grid Startup Challenge, in which we realized that the push doesn't work, and let's work on the pull, and publish about 6 challenges towards August every year. And then we are doing the scouting also here in the region together with you guys. Yeah. With the
So
help
we have
of
challenges will come up very soon. It's going to be by August.
Yeah. The third new program is Gen AI Innovation, or in the most known name is EnergyPT. Last year we had 10 different use cases in which we scouted for generative AI startups and partnered with them. The last activity, or particularly in Israel, we started it in Q2. We're doing venture building and practical research together with some partners locally here.
That's pretty interesting to hear. And I think one of the main repeating challenges, or I think both challenges and solutions, is kind of egg and chicken when the startup is ready to work with utilities and also to find a solution that actually can answer the challenges. And I think having you guys working from early stage, invest in pre-seed, eventually pushing from venture and building, it's help to startups, to innovation, to be ready to be incorporated into the innovation very, very soon. So that's great to hear. So you mentioned a little bit about a trend. You started to kind of give a teaser for the conversation. I think that's maybe our next questions to come up with. We spoke about a lot of topics, and we're going to hear about 10 amazing startups very soon. But would be happy to hear from your local global perspective, what you see as the trends, what is kind of coming up, and maybe also something that you thought can be a trend and it's not as expected. Can start, Gile.
So I think I would take it to 2 major topics. For us, and specifically we see it also overseas, but first of all, as being the major Israeli electricity creator and producer, we want to go green, and we say it out loud, and we feel responsible for that, and I say it here on the stage. We used to use coal, we moved to natural gas, and it's not enough. Sorry, but it's not enough. It's still It's still not good enough, and we're looking at the future, and the future gas or the future fuel is hydrogen for us. And even today, Israel Electric can use up to 40% hydrogen in the power plants as it is. We need, of course, regulation, which is a big partner for us, and we have to work together in order to make it happen. We have to have it. It costs a lot of money to change it because the technology is not ready of hydrogen. It has a lot of things you need to solve on the way. But we look at startups and research, and we are a big partner for that part of the whole value chain of hydrogen, because eventually we're going to be the biggest consumer of hydrogen in Israel. That's for sure, because we want to burn the hydrogen in our power plants and just go green. And exactly as I think Israel wasn't focusing enough on going greener until lately, and we see more and more investment in that places, and also Israel Electric is something that we now focus on because we feel that responsibility, and you see climate all over is taking a major step, and Reichman University just opened up a great program of MBA focusing on climate, which is something that was never before, which is amazing. And so hydrogen, word globally and in Israel, is something that we're going to focus on. And the second one is, maybe it is the first even, is the grid. Everybody talks a lot about it, but it is as big as it goes. There is a huge pressure on the grid, huge pressure because of the EV, because of the renewable energies, because of the storage, because of the data centers. And we want more and more electricity. Everybody wants more from the grid. It's obviously, and it's going to go worse. People would want more, countries would want more and more from the grid. And it costs a lot of money to build more grid. So we look at the Israeli money of the country, and we look at our responsibility, and we say we have to get more out of the grid as it is. We don't want to put more money in building more grid. We want to see in how, using good new technologies, we can get out more of the grid. The capacity, we're now starting some beautiful pilots on looking at DLR, dynamic line rating, together with Noga and some beautiful startups to see how can you take out of the grid as it is, which is something that was never before. So any technology that can make the grid more flexible, more helpful, this is a technology we want to hear about.
Thank you. Doron?
Maybe I will divide the answer to three, as we do in the army. I will start with the low light and flat and then go up. On the low light, and I'm sorry to be the party pooper here, we decided to shy away from hydrogen due to high prices, transportation infrastructure, energy efficiency concern, and there are plenty of reasoning for that, and we basically shut down one of the subsidiaries dealing with that, Green Gas. The second low light is the carbon credits or the carbon market. We basically also shut down another company in Abu Dhabi dealing with the carbon credits marketplace. On the flat side, I can, for those who are in the battery space, and we spoke about it earlier in the energy storage, we conducted a very thorough research about all the batteries, all the materials, the special materials. We realized that lithium ion is here to stay, and this is what we are focusing on with all the energy storage solutions that we have. On the upside, let's try to be to be positive here. We see a growing demand in the flexibility, but on the supply side. Another trend which is actually going quite rapidly and also in the last 2 weeks is the deindustrialization. Try to say it 10 times in a row. The recent example is ThyssenKrupp, which is because of the geopolitical transformation, if you would like, in Europe, the high prices of the gas provide to Germany basically a long-term sustainable disadvantage compared to China and the US, and especially on the gas price. And some industries, actually all the industries got affected in Germany besides the pharma, steel, automotive, and more. And they are trying to relocate their businesses outside of Germany. So it's going to affect our also revenues, 35% low. On the other uptrend, I can tell about the geothermal that we are also looking at. And that was in the last panel. Another trend that we led in the EU, the standardization, is the bidirectional charging. We partnered with BMW and we did a successful pilot. And the last but not least, which is something, of course, the microgrid and the energy storage is taking off, but the last but not least is something which is taking off in the US and coming closely to Europe, is basically the electrified trucks, in which we are now partnering with an Israeli startup, actually based in New York, to identify the relevant places in which we need to place the chargers. It's a 1 megawatt of chargers, and now being tested in our E.ON testing lab, which is going to affect our grid. So this is definitely something to look at in terms of what's going to happen in Europe.
Thank you, and it's pretty interesting and curious to hear also to hear the difference, and definitely can see grid flexibility is one of the key holders for everything, either for electrification, either the big consuming. That's definitely one of the most emerging area that we see more solution in that. We're running out of time, just like in a really quick and short answer, that because we have an entrepreneurs crowd here and online, what would be kind of your 2 cents, your advice, how to approach what to do, how to work with utilities better, or what not to do? You can choose one of this.
So, 3, maybe 2 points. Preferably to have a customer in Europe. If it's in Germany, even better, before approaching us. Good luck with that. Don't look for funding, it will come later on. We are investing after a successful pilot. Look for design partnership agreement, and this is something that we are welcoming. And last but not least, don't send the deck or approach with the generic deck. Just customize or learn what we are doing, see if there is a synergy or an alignment, and prepare a slide, what's in it for E.ON. It's very, very important. I know it might be very shallow, but believe me, it works like a charm.
Thanks.
So for me, maybe it's more the Israeli way, I would say, after what Doron just said here. So I knew you're going to ask that question, and I said I'm not going to answer it myself because then it's me, you know, the utilities thing. So I asked one of the startups that working with us, what is the tip you would give? So he said, and it's his words, manage expectations, which is actually right. When you do, before you start the innovation, doesn't matter if it's a POC, pilot, if it's an investment process, whatever it is, R&D, whatever it is, take one of the people that you work with in the utility and manage the expectation. Ask him, how long does it gonna take? What about the funds? Are you putting funds? Maybe you don't. Maybe the money will come later. Maybe you do, like Israel Electric. We always put the funds. We invest the money and the pilot. We don't do pilots for free. Ask him how does the process look? Who else in the utility except the people that now he's meeting with, who else is going to be he needs in the process. This is things and answers that are priceless, because if you don't manage the expectations before, you will always see it different than how the utility see it. And as long as you speak very honestly and ask for that honesty back, you're gonna have a better process together with the utility, because he wants you to succeed. It's his success, but it's always to manage expectations. And the second one, which is my tip, is never come without your homework done before, which means, and it sounds shallow, as Dawn said, but it's really not, because we see many startups coming and they didn't talk to us before, and they come to pitch, and I say, why didn't you talk to us before? Ask us, what are you looking for? Ask us, what do you want me to focus on the pitch? We're going to tell you everything, and it's again, it's priceless information, making your pitch better to all the people you're going to meet at the utility. But don't come to the pitch just because you got invitation to the pitch. Ask before, I'm having a pitch, I'm having a meeting, what do I need to know before? And then you would come much more ready, and I think this is like 50% of the work getting done.
Perfect. I couldn't conclude and get a better answer from both of you. So thank you for that, and thank you for this literally enlightening conversation. And we'll take it for the next session. Have a good day. Thank you.